Brian Carr here, North Jersey Sports. I'm in Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm at Rutherford High School, where March 28th, 2025, where Chris Gioia, senior, we recognized for his selection into the 47th annual Phil Simms North-South High School Football All-Star Classic. And the New Jersey National Guard will be here as part of the first time they've been involved with the sponsorship of the event. Here at the Rutherford High School, the principal will speak, and they will have a pep rally to honor Chris and in front of the whole student body. And we will have audio from Chris as well as Coach Dunn. We'll get Coach Sean Ryan. Try to get the principal, Frank Marino, and see what other guests we have that we can speak to on behalf of Chris. And great honor and great for the town of Rutherford. And let's get on. Talk to you soon. So we're here now with the honoree, Chris Gioia, senior, who has been selected for the 47th annual Phil Simms All-Star Game. Chris just received the award here at the school gym. What are your thoughts? You didn't know this was going to happen, Chris, but what are your thoughts of what happened today here?
No, yeah. I mean, thank you for letting me talk to you for this interview. But, I mean, hey, it's an honor to be here. Like, I couldn't have done it without my teammates, coaches. I mean, it's a great honor. I mean, this is one of the most prestigious games in all of New Jersey history. 47th annual is insane. And, I mean, it's just hard work pays off. And when you're one of the best players playing alongside other great players from throughout all New Jersey, it's just a great honor.
Well, talk about, I mean, I have a lot of questions I can ask you, but one of the things I was talking to Coach Dunn about was about the program. They mentioned before rec program outside. Talk about what the rec program has done for you here in Rutherford, all the sports you've been involved with. What have they done to help you to get to where you got in high school?
No, yeah, I mean, since I was a little kid, I mean, I started football in 6th grade, but even in Mighty Mites, when you started in 1st, 2nd grade, the coaches that have been with you throughout your whole life, you know and grow up with all of them. And your friends, too. You play with all your friends. And just the community as a whole. Rutherford, very small town, so you know a lot of people. And, I mean, the community just gets great. Every Saturday night,
it's a special night,
yeah,
right?
It's a special time. And then even all the way up to high school. I mean, the coaches you've known since you were a little kid. You're playing with your group of friends that you've been playing with throughout your whole life. Right. It's just a great opportunity.
Any particular memories back in junior sports at all? Anybody in particular, a coach or somebody?
Yeah. I mean, my 7th grade RJF team with the 8th graders like Ryan Ward and all of them.
Right.
We had Coach Finelli and Coach Glenn Gardner. They were one of my greatest coaches I've ever had. And we were one of the best teams in the state during that time. We had, no team score any points on us, and, 3 teams scored a first down on us that year. So that was probably one of my favorite RJF junior football memories.
Right. You know, one thing special here, too, for you guys, you have the most NJIC titles of anybody. You guys have 4.
Uh-huh.
Only one other team has 2, and there's only, I think, 2 or 3 other teams that have won 1.
Oh, yeah.
So Rutherford has been dominant in the NJIC since they started the playoffs. Does it mean a lot to you guys? You guys ever talk about it or think about it? Or maybe in the future you'll think about it more? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I came to high school at a great time. My freshman year is when we started the three-peat. I mean, first one my freshman year, sophomore until junior year. It was unfortunate we couldn't get it done this year, but I mean, hey, we had great teams throughout those 3 years, and I mean, it's a great honor because the program we have is just hard work, just one step at a time. So we just keep working to do that.
Talk about the challenge. You had a challenge as a junior, right? You were leading the team, and I was at the game. I remember, I think it was in Pompton Lakes where you hurt your shoulder, and you were leading the team. And then you get hurt. But you were still at the games. I remember you were still in the sidelines supporting the team. What did you learn from that? Because anybody could get hurt anytime. So what's your words to somebody who does get hurt like you got hurt?
No, yeah. I mean, it definitely sucks mentally because you work through your whole life just to get to that one spot. The whole season, throughout the whole summer, all the way to October when I got hurt, I was with my boys every day and night, just talking football, playing football, having fun. I mean, when that happens, you got to go through a mental state where you're not really sure what you want to do. But you got to still be there for your teammates and just keep pushing through.
Right. So now it changed a little bit for you when you came back because you were playing quarterback before when you got hurt, and then you came back and you went more to a wide receiver. obviously played defense all the time. So that was a change for you, changing positions.
Yes.
But maybe it was going back to where you had been, right? Because you weren't a quarterback, I guess, originally, right?
Yeah.
So what did you learn from that? What did it teach you about? You're like a Swiss Army knife, they call that, right?
Yeah.
You could play anything.
No, yeah. I mean, my sophomore year, I played receiver under the quarterback Van Weber, which was great. I mean, get the ball to you every single time. And then when I switch over to quarterback, you kind of get a better understanding of how routes are ran, when the ball should be thrown. So having that mindset and mentality, knowing like where the line's blocking and everything that's going on, it really helps you just know and be a better football player generally.
Right. Another one. I talked to Coach Dunn about brothers play.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about playing with your brother. What does that mean? Play with your brother? It's you only got to do it 1 year. Your senior year because he's a freshman. But what does it mean to be able to have play with your brother? And there's been a lot of that here. The Russell brothers were here. Is it Gumas, right? The other brother too?
Yeah,
So
Gumas, yeah.
what does it mean to play with your brother?
I mean, no, it's definitely a great honor. I mean, I've never played with my brother before in football, and it was definitely something that you can't. It's just out of a book,
Right.
It's something that you always wish to do, and especially that you got to play varsity too. I got to play with him in my last ever play varsity football. I got to do a touchdown to him. So, I mean, it's emotional, but, I mean, he'll grow up to be another best player. I mean, we're playing together in baseball now this year, so it'll be one last ride with him, and it'll be fun.
So that was kind of my last question. Thinking now, we're getting ready today. This pep rally is for getting ready for the spring sports season. What are you looking forward to in baseball this year?
I mean, we come healthy. We didn't do that great last year. In the playoffs, we kind of stepped up our game and almost made the sectional final, sadly losing to Caldwell, but we're a young team this year, coming in hot. We're ready to bark. Our coach got a new saying about bisons running through the storm, so that's our motto this year.
Play through the storm.
Yep.
Hey, before I forget too, you just got finished winter sport. You played basketball. The team did very well. Won the NGIC as well.
Yes.
Talk about that as well.
I mean, we were the first team ever to win the NGIC championship game since they added it to basketball, and we had a really great team this year. We had the same team last year that didn't do that great, but we really stepped up our game this year. Only lost, I'm pretty sure, 6 games this year, which sadly we lost to I forget who in the playoffs, but sadly we got cut short. But I mean,
so you won the NGIC, you won the Herb Cohen tournament, basketball
the Christmas
tournament.
Yeah,
You won that, so that was pretty big, and you beat Demarest, who had won it the year before.
Yeah,
Demarest did very well last year. So Rutherford is very competitive in all sports. Swimming, I coached on the swimming. Swimming's been very well here too. So this is a sports town, right? Do you think of that? I don't know.
I mean, obviously, I haven't been a part of a sports team that's ever been bad. So I mean, I would like to say that we're a big sports town, and we take very, very good pride in that.
One of the themes I had to say with Coach Dunn was success builds success. You have a lot of success here in the past and then currently. Do you think that helps you? Do you think about that?
No, yeah, especially like it goes back to junior football. We always were in the playoffs, always making championships, winning or losing doesn't matter. You always have that mindset like we should win this game no matter what. Losing isn't an option, so that's what we kind of go by.
Right. And when you talk about junior football, like last year, not this past season you've seen before, all the Rutherford levels in junior had won in that Super Bowl up in Elmwood Park last year. Your brother was on the team, and Quinn Ward, and Quinn Weber was on the team. So, success builds success.
Oh, yeah,
and there
exactly.
it is. It starts down there, and then it flows right up to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
But congratulations, good luck in college, and hopefully you'll see you at the game.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations again. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. So really, I do this just like I do with we do on our show. Yeah. Like Corey puts all the pieces together. That's what I'm doing too. Brian Carr here, back on North Jersey Sports. So now we'll talk to Chris Gioia in a little while. Right now we have one of his coaches, his football coaches. We have Coach Steve Dunn. Coach Dunn, for those who don't know Steve, was also an alumni here, football player as well. He has been Chris's coach for the last 4 years. You know what? I'm not going to do the talking because he knows the man better than I know him, but I'll ask him some questions. But Steve, just talk about your first impressions and your thoughts on what Chris has meant to being on your team, for the school, for the town.
Well, he's been an outstanding kid. Yeah. And, days like this where you have it's always a good feeling when you have a kid getting recognized for doing the right stuff. And Chris always does the right things. And him being a 3-sport athlete in his hometown, I think means a lot. And it shows you that you could have success at all 3 sports and still do what you want to do at the end of it. Chris is going to go play at a Division I football school in Marist next year. We're all really excited for him, but he's he's a really good kid. That's what it comes down to. That does the right thing. So it's good to honor him today.
Right. What does he talk about? I know one of the administrative people said to me, he's one of those kids that I don't see, which is a good thing.
Yes.
You're meaning that he's not a problem kid. He doesn't get in trouble. He's a good kid. So what does it mean to be? What does that mean? Good kid.
Our vice principal, I think you're talking about,
Right.
said, "How come Chris Gioia is never in my office? He does all the discipline." So, Chris, he's quiet. He's a quiet kid. He's a leader by example. So, I think he shows everyone what to do by what he does. And he embodies everything that we want a bulldog to be.
Right.
The toughness, the leadership, the dedication to what he's doing. I mean, if you ask Chris what his favorite sport is, right now it's probably baseball because he's playing baseball. And if it was in the fall, it'd be football. So Chris, he just embodies everything we want in a Rutherford football player and a Rutherford athlete in general. To see kids still doing this, a 3-sport athlete, it's tough to do. It gets harder and harder each year.
Right.
And Chris still found a way to make it work.
Talk about a challenge that Chris ran into, 2 years ago, right? Starter, quarterback, hurts his shoulder, doesn't play. You continue to win with other kids, but he was there at every game. I remember seeing him on the sideline. He was there with his teammates. What does that show in Chris that, hey, he got hurt, but he came back. And also when he did come back, he didn't go back to quarterback. He went to receiver. So what does that mean? What kind of kid is that really can adapt to that?
That speaks to his character. He's willing to do whatever was best for the team. So Chris, we threw him at quarterback his junior year. He's not a quarterback.
Right.
And we had a pretty good team around him, but we were missing that piece, that quarterback piece. So we put Chris there, and he had a great season. I think it was game 6 he broke his collarbone, and he was done for the year. But when talk about being a leader and a good teammate, we always talk about the kids about being good teammates. You want to be a good team, be a good teammate first. And Chris was everything you could be on the bench. He led his team, and his presence, his attention to detail. He prepared like he was playing every game, even though he knew he wasn't. So, but yes, him coming back, playing quarterback, and then the senior year not playing quarterback just shows you he could adapt, adjust, and do what's needed for the team.
And that wide receiver and offense, he shined there too.
Yeah.
A lot of plays open. I mean, he got 3 or 4 touchdowns a game sometimes.
Yeah.
He was really rolling, but it shows you his athleticism and how good of an athlete he is.
Well, offensively, he played everywhere but the O-line. That's really it. He played a little QB his senior year, a little bit, but he did, and every other skill position, between wideout, slot, running back, fullback. So he's very versatile, a very versatile athlete that I think Maris got a real good player in Chris because, he knows the game of football very well, and he could adjust to whatever they want him to do.
So I think it's important for you guys, too. I know I talked to Sean Ryan today. Where's Sean Ryan today?
He's down in North Carolina. Yeah.
He's down there behind one of your former athletes, right? He's down there supporting them. And you guys were down there last year at North Carolina with Ryan Ward.
Yeah.
So I guess it's very important for you guys, too. Not just the kids being here, but you like to see him continue on and be successful in the future.
Of
you follow him.
Now, we've had some really good with the last 3 years, we got 3 Division I football players out there, which is a huge testament to Rutherford football, not just at the high school, to what we do at the elementary level, the Rutherford junior football. The kids come up, they're prepared, they're winners. That makes my job easy. But he's part of a line now that we've had some really good football players. But more importantly, I think we have good kids. Kids that don't play football in college, we expect them to be good husbands, good fathers.
Right.
We try to build these kids into men. So it means a lot when we see them post-high school doing really good things.
Talk about what it means then. You've been here for so long at Rutherford. What does it mean, to put it together, like how these kids there's a lot of athletic kids here. So is it you guys that have been here for so long that help breathe the program that everybody knows in Rutherford, we're going to have good athletics?
Well, yes, I think it's a culture. It's an overall culture. So whether you pick the sport, some people may say something's in the water. I don't.
Swimming, right?
Yeah,
we're swimming here with your swimming. I think your swimming
championship
shirt.
jacket. Yeah,
Right.
But it helps. Yes, continuity with the coaches help. We've been here a long time as a staff, but there's also been a lot of other coaches that have been here a long time. Our baseball coach started when I started, almost 20 years ago, and our basketball coach has been here a very long time too. We have some really good coaches in the building that have that same mission to turn boys into men, and I think we do a pretty good job of it here.
Talk about football, the rec program. We got to talk about rec a little bit. I think it was last year, not this past season, but the year before,
Yeah.
all levels of junior football won like Super Bowl
Super
they had
Bowls,
in
yeah.
the junior football.
Yeah.
But talk about those guys. Give them a little bit of a credit here for the group down below who are helping the kids get ready for you.
Yeah, I talk about them all the time. Our kids come up the right way. They come up winning. They come up knowing what they're doing on the football field, but just as important as kids. They come in as really good kids with high expectations, and when they get to our program, it's not a shell shock that they were already in a program that expects to win and expects them to do the right things. And, there's a guy been running it for over 20 years, guy Mike Paskus, and there's a lot of good coaches down there, a lot of good coaches. It's not just it's run a little differently than every other organization, and that's why we've had success here at the high school for so long.
Right. It's football. I know baseball, too. Baseball's been good here for a long time, and I think Paskus' family has been a big baseball family as well, and football. And you have a Paskus on the football team now, I
We
think.
do.
Right.
We do. His nephew's on the team. We coached his son 15 years ago, and he had a daughter who was very good at softball, too. But, yes, it's not – the reason why baseball is good is because the Rutherford Little League program is so good.
Makes
So
it good.
any good high school program is built from the ground up as far as from what they do in elementary school.
Right.
And we've been very lucky that our grade school athletics have carried over to high school success.
And you have some kids, too, you have families. And we see that in other towns.
Yes.
That you have, like the Gioias now. So you have Johnny Joy, who are freshmen starting. You had Weber, you have Van, now his brother Quinn, freshman. You have two of those kids that are brothers, freshmen, starting on the football team last year. It doesn't usually happen. A lot of freshmen starting.
No, pretty cool. And you could talk to a lot of coaches. When you coach brothers, it's awesome. It really is. And we had a couple years ago, I think we had 4 sets of brothers on the team. And, we've had plenty of parents that send their kids from, we had the Russells. Remember that Superman
Right,
catch?
to Kyle. There was Kyle.
And it started with Dan in 2008 or 7, I think he came on. And all the way down to Kyle, who made that catch in the NJSC final. So, that family sent 3 different kids through whatever it was, 15 years to us. And there's been a lot of different sets of brothers. And there's nothing better than watching brothers play together. And ironically enough, the last offense play of the season was a Chris Gioia throwing the ball to John Gioia for a touchdown.
It's amazing.
So that was a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool for the parents.
Right. As they say, success builds success.
Yeah.
And let's leave it at that, Steve.
Right.
Thank you, Steve. Follow up. We have another guest here after we talk to Coach Dunn and we talk to Chris Gioia. I have a teammate of Chris on the baseball team as well as on the football team. I have Andrew Mollar. Andrew, you were the captain too? Were you a captain on football as well? I know Chris was.
Yeah, we had a number of captains, so
Right.
I think we have a lot. Really, we go by more leadership than captain roles.
Right. So anyway, talk about first thoughts about Chris. When somebody said, "Hey, what about Chris?" Tell me about Chris.
Being one of his best friends for years now, I don't even know where to start. He's a heck of an athlete on baseball diamond, the court, the field, but he's also a great friend at heart. Knowing him for years now, we've done everything together, whether it's playing video games, playing sports, hanging out. I've got to know his family very well. He's gotten to know my family very well. And I'm very fortunate to call him one of my best friends.
Right. Talk about rec program. Were you involved with the rec program here as well? We talked about other people talk about being in the rec. Do you remember the times with Chris in the rec program?
Yeah. In fact, Chris and I get a good laugh at this a lot. We starting probably in second or third grade, we were on opposing rec teams, and him and I would kind of go at it when we were playing on 8-foot rims.
Right.
And so him and I actually had some bad blood for the first few years of knowing each other. But once we started playing together, Chris will know that 4th grade rec team was. We were dirty. We were a force to be reckoned with.
Very young.
But and as years went on, we grew closer on the field, grew closer off the field also. So it's been a lot. It's been fun playing with him for years now. Yeah.
One of the things, another topic we talk about is, the rec program. We talk about success because a lot of success happens at rec. And I mentioned a couple times already, like the year before, with all the rec teams, all the levels of rec won the Super Bowl up in Elmwood Park.
Yeah.
So the connection I'm making is success at junior levels, and then it helps you lead to success at the high school level.
Yeah. I think, especially with a guy like Chris, he's been able to adapt to all types of competitive levels at all different age groups, whether it be from Pop Warner years ago, in all sports, whether Little League, rec basketball, Pop Warner. Chris has always been able to adapt very well with the competitive level and the level of competition we've had in the years playing together.
Yeah, I mean, you guys here, a lot of athletes come through here.
Yeah.
You know, you had Van Weber was here a few years, Ryan Ward. I'm not naming everybody, but those are just a few of the guys.
Yeah, just a few.
It's been a lot of good players and 3 NGIC titles in a row.
Yeah.
Nobody else has more than 2. You guys have 3 in a row now, total of 4. So again, success from the rec level, and then it comes up here in the high school level. So what do you think about that? And I guess it does help, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just being Chris being, and really not even just Chris, all of us as a team being able to cope together to perform at the next level, to put those trophies in the cases, those banners up on the wall. It's been a great ride, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for him still.
Talk about like coaches. I mean, talk about some of the coaches here in the high school level. What have they meant? What do you think they've meant to you and Chris?
I think the first guy we could state is our football coach, Coach Stephen Dunn. He's got a mind for the game of football like any other we've ever seen. And not only is he one of the best coaches you'll ever step on the field with, he's one of the best role models too. It just means a lot more than a game to him. He cares a lot about us off the field, whether it be at home with our academics. He gets onto this a lot about that.
Right.
But he can tell that the care and the effort that these coaches have put into Chris and him on and off the field, it's really adapted to and progressed to show what kind of a human he is today.
Have you walked? I know you walked down that hall a few times. Have you ever looked at the walls? At both sides of the hallway down there?
Yes, actually. We got a lot of Athlete of the Weeks, a lot of sectional trophies and awards and championships from all different levels.
Right. Well, I was going to say, the point is Coach Dunn and Coach Ryan are up on the wall on the right-hand side
yes.
there.
Yeah. So being able to see our coach Sean Ryan, being able to perform when he was in his high school days, and has been able to translate that from a coaching role today, it's really been very inspiring to all of us as players.
It gives you consistency. They went through here.
Yeah.
They were successful in high school, and now they're helping you become adults to be successful.
Yeah.
And I talked to somebody else. Right now, Coach Ryan is down,
quiet, extremely quiet. Sometimes, coaches get on him a little bit because he's the best kid to be more of a vocal leader, but that's not who he is. He leads by example. He's the first one in the weight room, first one at practice, last one off the field. So Chris does an amazing job, and he's one of the best to ever come through here.
Right. One of the things I've been talking about, I said to you earlier, the rec program. And a lot of the kids have all said it. Andrew Mollar interviewed, we talked to Chris Gioia as well. They all talk about the rec, and they played in rec, and they all worked their way up. And rec has been very successful here in Rutherford. Baseball, football.
Correct.
Any thoughts on the rec program and what
absolutely.
That means?
Being someone that coached here for a long time and was a head football coach here, Mike Paskus runs the junior football here. And he does an absolute amazing job. These kids come up here, they know the fundamentals, and most importantly, they know how to win. Winning breeds winning.
Right.
It's not acceptable down at the youth level to lose football games. That's people could say Mike's a little rough and tough, but guess what? He breeds winners, and they come up here, and that's the main reason why we have success up here. He does an amazing job, and that continues through, and our kids know how to work. So we've been very lucky to have Mike running that for many years.
Think about this, too. Let's connect it back to academics. So what do you think athletics, very successful in athletics, how does that transpose over to academics? And does it help the kids, drive them more to do better in school?
That's the easiest question I think I've ever been asked. Right. So because of that, because of the work ethic that they have and the time management skills and all of those things, our athletes are some of our best students. They have discipline, they have work ethic, they know how to manage their time because they're going from, Coach Dunn has 6 a.m. lifts sometimes here. They go to school, they go to their sport they're playing, they get home, they have to have that discipline of time management to be able to get their homework done. So, and kids that work hard on the field, work hard in the classroom, and I definitely believe that.
And then also winning too up here. The football team, which Chris was on, won the NGIC for 3 straight years. No other teams won more than 2.
Correct.
You guys have 4.
Yep.
And there's only a couple other teams that have 1. So, again, success down at RAC. They come up here and they have success here as well.
Correct.
So it's
almost an unfair that if you don't win, we have expectations here now at Rutherford, and not that I'm saying I'm Jerry Jones like the principal here overseeing Coach Dunn, but it's almost unfair for Coach Dunn. It's however many wins he had this year, but. He looked. I had down. People think he had a down year this year, and meanwhile, he's in the state semifinals, and and is able to always put together great years. But the expectations are almost unfair for him, and that again started with winning at the Rec and winning throughout his whole career that he's been here.
Right, and it's tough. At last year, number of freshmen starting on the team,
very young team,
very young team. Chris was one of the few seniors on the team.
Correct.
So it's hard sometimes. You're going to have a little bit of a rebuilding year.
You don't even hear of freshmen starting in football in Bergen County. No. You really don't. And the first guy who ever hired me to coach football many moons ago was Pete Natal, the athletic director at Fairlawn High School. And when he hired me and we were talking, he said something that stuck in my head probably almost 30 years ago. And he said that for every sophomore you start, it equals a loss on your schedule. Right. And we didn't have sophomore start. We had freshman start.
Yeah.
So, what Steve did this year was absolutely amazing with the leadership of Chris Gioia.
Yeah. It's a hard thing, and everybody, you're spoiled by your success here. Schools like you and Westwood that continually every year have success. And most schools, it's hard. They're looking at co-oping here. But you guys, what do you think's helping get the kids to come out and play? I guess it's the Rec, right?
It brings it down there. I mean, we look and we say, Steve Dunn has great problems. He came to me. There was a year or two we didn't have a true freshman team. We had a sub-varsity. And Steve came to me and he's like, we got to get freshman games on the schedule again because I have 15 kids coming in. 15 kids coming in. So, that's always a nice magic number that we talk about. You have 15 to 18 kids, you get yourself a full freshman team. And those freshmen, if obviously this year they had to go up and play, but normally they don't get beat up and they don't get turned off to the sport. Right. So now all of a sudden they have their own freshman schedule. They're able to play. Now those 15 kids, you're not losing. But if you bring 15 freshmen up and they got to go play maybe some juniors that aren't playing varsity, now they get beat up a little bit. That 15 turns to 10 real quick, and then your numbers are down. And then they get hurt
during the season. They can't play during the season.
And then your numbers are down.
And maybe they want to quit eventually.
So those Rec, again, tying everything back to that, the Rec department brings these kids up, the junior football program, bring these kids up, and we always have great numbers,
How's the football? Now Chris is leaving. How does the overall athletics, look, moving forward here? I guess we want to talk about boys and we're talking about Chris. How do you look?
So the expectations here every single year is for us to be competing for a division and an NJIC championship, and as well as states. Being a coach myself for a lot of years, I think that winning in athletics breeds school culture. And when there's great school culture, kids want to be here and kids want to learn. So I think there's a huge correlation between success on the athletic field and success in the classroom because it spills over to the type of culture that we have in this building. So I don't expect it's been great with Chris. We've been very lucky to have Chris. When Chris leaves, who's leaving here is one of the best to do it, there's going to be another Chris that comes through the door that I'm hopefully having an interview with you saying he's one of the best to do it again. There's
more coming right now. You've got, I've talked to the other guys, you've got Kid brothers coming up. You've got Johnny Gioia.
Yep.
You've got Van Weber's brother.
Correct.
You've got Quinn Weber coming up. But these are freshmen.
And
they don't look like freshmen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? These kids look like juniors. And next year, those kids, even though they're only freshmen now,
they have some experience.
Some people are going to think they're like seniors now.
Yeah, that's because of the weight program that we have too. Also, like just because we have three, and we promote 3 sport athletes here, but we have 3 sport athletes here. But those 3 sport athletes are lifting all year round, whether it's 6 o'clock in the morning they're here, or whether it's lunchtime while everybody's going out on Park Ave, going to get a sandwich. They're in the weight room first, lifting for 45 minutes. So that's why they're able to do that.
Another thing I was just thinking about, you're talking about going downtown here versus other towns. You're really centralized here. Not like these regional schools, the kids have to be bussed in and whatever. The kids can walk to school most of them.
So we wanted a few schools with an open campus for lunch. So it's great for the businesses in town. It's great. Kids either walk home or walk up to Park Ave. They get a little break, 56 minutes, that they're able to leave the building, get a little break. They walk up, they go have lunch with their friends, they go home, whatever it might be. So being and that just goes to this tight knit community that we have. Rutherford's a very, very special place, both athletically, academically, and culturally.
One other thing too, I see you have a basketball shirt on. The basketball team this year,
unbelievable.
First time
Had the most wins in school history over this century.
Wow.
Coach Parnafiello has done a great job. leading, with Chris Gioia leading the way, but Coach Parnafiello, who actually I was his freshman basketball coach many moons ago. But he's done a great job leading this program. And again, it's tough when you get a kid and he plays hard for you, and then he moves on to baseball, and then he moves on, and in the summer, we almost have to balance, where, like a kid like Chris Gioia, where are you going today? You going to baseball? You going to football? You going to basketball? Yeah. He's not sitting home, so coaches can't get mad.
He's busy.
But it's exactly right. It's almost a tug of war sometimes when you have multi-sport athletes. But I'll take that any day over a kid who specializes. Yeah. Kid who's competing season after season. There's something saying that I'm competing against somebody or going into the weight room and just lifting and squatting. I think that's a big difference.
Let's leave it at that. I think we covered a lot. I appreciate it, Frank. Have a great spring sports season. We're here. We're doing a follow-up. This is my last interview regarding Chris Gioia and his selection to the 47th annual Phil Simms All-Star Game. We're here with another one of his coaches. This coach has been on staff for a number of years. He's the offensive coordinator. It's Sean Ryan. Sean is also a Rutherford football player in the Hall of Fame there at Rutherford. Sean, why don't you give us your thoughts on Chris and what he means to Rutherford and as you see it?
Yeah, so Chris is just a really special kid. Obviously, he's been with us for the last 4 years, but I knew Chris even before he was with us at the high school, and I watched him at the junior football level and then kind of our feeder program to the high school, and he's just been a tremendous athlete, 3-sport athlete for us at Rutherford. Just so important to every team that he's on, not just football, but he went to basketball and was the best player there. Now, he heads off to the baseball season, and he's the best player on our team, and not only with his ability on the field, but his leadership as well. And he's a great teammate. He's a great friend. He's a great student. He's just a great leader for our school, and just really, really proud of him and all the recognition that he's getting, and the ability to go up and play for Mike Willis up at Marist and at the Division I level. It's everything that he's earned, and the truth is, I think the best is really just yet ahead of him, as he just able to focus in on one sport and prepare for that all year round. I think the best is yet to come for Chris Gioia.
Hey, talking about that, you mentioned Mike Willis. Mike Willis, former Bulldog as well, played on the football team. Talk about what that means to the program when you have a coach that went to school at your school and now they're at the next level. What does that mean for you? As I know you're involved with the recruiting and the colleges for the kids. So what does that mean to the school?
No, it means everything to us. And, I had a chance to coach Mike when I started out my coaching career back in 2007 when Frank Marino was the head coach there, and now he's the principal of the high school. And so I had a chance to coach Mike, and he was a tremendous player, but also just the student athlete he was, and the academic side of things, and being able to go on to Princeton and have the career that he did there, and then get into coaching and watch him, work his way up through the ranks and get to be that OC at Princeton where they had a tremendous amount of success, and then, go on to be the youngest coach in FCS in the country over at Marist, and just really proud of him. And Mike's another person that, I've known, since he was a kid coming to junior football camp, and actually John De Palma's camp that he used to run, Mike used to come to there, and I used to work at those, and, just his family, just a tremendous family, and, just very proud of Mike and what he's doing. And now, for us to be able to have one of our players go and play for him, it's kind of full circle, and definitely rooting for Mike, and any way that we can help him, we're happy to do.
Right. Hey, you mentioned a few names there of some coaches that you had. I had some notes because there's sort of a legendary group of coaches that you had coaching you at the time. So you mentioned Frank, the principal right now. He was one of your coaches there. John De Palma. Both of those guys are still coaching. We won't name where they're coaching, but they're coaching at high school level. Also, Vito Campanelli was one of the coaches now at Bergen, who just finished a 4-peat, a number one school in the state. You had Eddie Sori now, head coach at Westwood. He was at Westwood as an assistant coach and won a state championship. Now he's at Heights. Talk about some of these guys. I mean, you've had a lot of guys that have been – Roger Cutlar's. We didn't mention Roger, who's now up at Marist, too. So talk about these guys and what they mean to you in the program.
Yeah, so that's – I've just been so lucky. My sophomore year when John DePalma came in and we had Vito Campanelli in his first high school job just coming working with Chip Kelly up in New Hampshire, coming down, and he was one of our assistant coaches. We had Frank Marino and future head coach, and he's now principal at the school. We had Roger Cutlar's as our defensive coordinator, and obviously he's had multiple head jobs. Just finished up at Wayne Valley, and now is off to work with Mike Willis up in Marist. But we also had John Ziza, who just recently passed, and is kind of a legendary coach, and some of the battles that he did, and the inspiration that he was, and with his his disability, but yet never hindered him from being able to make an impact on the student athletes, and certainly on me in my life. And but I just was so fortunate, playing for these folks and continue to try to keep those relationships with these guys, because they're not the things about the names that you just mentioned. Some of these guys like the Vitos and the Franks and the John DePalmas and the Roger Cutlars and Eddie Surrey. These guys, they weren't just coaches; they're friends, and they've been a part of my life, since I was a sophomore in high school, and they're continue to be there for me, and we continue to have good conversation, not just about football, but about life and our families, and as we're continuing to build that up. And so just a tremendous experience, and being able to be around those guys, and really made me fall in love with the game. And to this day, coaching is because of a lot of those folks that we just named. Just seeing the impact that they had on me, and just developing that love for the game, and me trying to give back to the folks to the kids that I work with now, because that's how I try to coach them. We coach hard, but we love hard as well. We love our guys and our community, and obviously trying to build something special like they did for us.
Right. Hey, talk about that too. Talk about staying home, because in this day and age, a lot of kids, the really star kids, can get recruited by some of the other teams. But just talk about staying home, and the things we're talking about are a lot of the things that the kids nowadays have to think about. They don't visualize. You've been there, you've seen it. Talk about being able to stay home, and all roads can go from Rutherford to North Carolina to New York State to Albany, New York. Talk about what it means.
Yeah, so I think Steve and I obviously coming to Rutherford, and now coming back and coaching there for Steve's been there all the way through from 2007 till present, and had that one brief stint over at Ridge Hill Park, but then same for me, kind of starting 2007, being through. But I think for our student athletes, we've had 3 years in a row now we've placed one of our athletes in Division I football. Starting with Van Weber, who I think is hands down one of the best quarterbacks to come out of New Jersey, and he's now the starter up at Albany, and if anyone has been watching, he started the last 3 games or 2.5 games, and really just really showed what he was able to do, and what I was telling people he was going to do. And so I'm really looking forward to what he's about to accomplish, and then Ryan Ward going off to North Carolina, and just the amount of exposure that he got, and the amount of offers and the opportunities that he had, and chose a great place in North Carolina, and he's down there working with Freddie Kitchens and as the tight end coach and the offensive coordinator, and just got back from a spring trip down there to see him in spring ball, and he's really thriving, and I think he's going to have an outstanding year. And then now obviously Chris Gioia, our other Division I player going to Marist, and as I mentioned, I think the best football is yet to come for him. Just a tremendous athlete, and I think with his ability now to focus on one sport year round instead of those 3 sports, I think you're going to see some really special things with Chris. So, and I think all those guys, playing home, playing on Friday nights with their brothers, with their family, and in front of their family and for their hometown, I think it meant everything then to them. And Steve and I have really tried to develop our talent, develop our kids from the second they get to Rutherford, to try to make them the best student athlete that they can be. And then when we have these kids, our job is to be able to get them the exposure that they need and to be able to contact these coaches and get in touch with them and show them what they're about and have them come to our school and watch them work out and get them the film they need and build those relationships so that when we have these guys walk in our hallways that we're able to place them in these types of schools. As you mentioned, at some of the bigger schools in our area, some of the best football in New Jersey and in the country with some of the bigger schools that compete against each other. But also showing that these smaller schools have some really good players that deserve the opportunity as well.
Right. Hey, talking about Chris a little bit, one thing I was looking at your high school history, originally I think you were a wide receiver, right? And then I think you moved into quarterback probably your senior year, junior year. Chris is a lot like you, right? Wide receiver, went to quarterback, back to wide receiver. Do you see anything, comparison between the two of you at all?
No, Chris is a much better athlete than I ever was. But as far as the journey, yeah, definitely. He was going from a sophomore year where we had Van Weber and Chris was competing with Ryan back and forth, leading New Jersey in touchdown receptions. Then to his junior year where we moved him to quarterback, and he just thrived there. And then, the truth is we had that's when Ryan was a senior, and we had a tremendous team where Chris ended up getting hurt, breaking his collarbone against Pompton Lakes. And then taking a freshman quarterback into the NJIC playoffs and winning our conference with a freshman quarterback. And then, getting to our third state championship in a row facing Westwood, without Chris, which definitely hurt us on both sides of the ball. And then going back to his senior season where we have that freshman who's now a sophomore and was really able to move Chris around again, using that receiver, using that running back, putting that quarterback in certain situations in the Wildcat and things of that. So he was just our Swiss Army knife and, return kicks for us, return punts, play defense. He was, he would drive the school bus if you asked him to. So just that type of athlete and never complained, never asked where he was going to be or, just said, yes, coach, and worked as hard as he possibly could. And, our success, a lot of it was around Chris Gioia and finding ways for him to thrive.
Yeah, hey, no doubt. Sean, you guys won 4 NJIC titles. You won there 3 in a row until last year. No other team has won more than 2, and there's only a few other teams that have won 1. So pretty successful down in Rutherford here. And what are your thoughts? Any final thoughts here regarding Chris and going up to Marist and anybody else there at Rutherford that you want to talk about?
Yes, as far as Chris, just I think his ceiling is just he hasn't even begun to scrape the surface of where he's going to get. And he's already put on a lot of size in the off season and has definitely